Hello, CX Arabia. Today we have a great guest. Hello, Jay. How are you?
I'm fantastic. We'll see whether I'm a great guest. Don't promise
Yeah.
too much now. Like, let's just wait.
Yeah, I say that because on facts, because what we have, you have been named for multiple times as the top gurus in customer experience and customer service. You have six best-selling books. You have added a lot to the customer experience industry with marketing and all this in the past around 20 years,
Thanks.
almost. If you need to add anything else, you can add as well,
Thank
Jay,
you.
to our
I appreciate
audience.
that. That's great.
Yeah. Thank you for being with us, Jay. Our topic today is about the need for speed or the time to win. Your recent book, the small book that you
Yeah.
have a lot of great insights recently. So before we start, what came to say that we need to have the speed and all this time to win the services, or how we came with this research?
Yeah. When the pandemic was ending, I had this observation that we care about time more than we used to. The pandemic taught us a lot of things. One of the things it reminded us is that tomorrow is not guaranteed. Nothing is promised to us. You don't really know what's going to happen in the world. And it reminded us that every one of us has just 1,440 minutes a day, and it doesn't matter
Wow.
who you are or where you are or what you are. Everybody has the same amount of time. I think this is true, Lara, that time is the only thing on this whole planet that we actually share evenly. It's the only thing,
Yeah. And the
right? We
problem
don't
that
share
we
we
always
don't
need
share
more
money or
time.
water, air. We don't share anything. Food. We don't share anything equally except for time. And so how we spend that time matters. And a lot of the trends that were happening after the pandemic, people wanting to work from home and not commuting, and a lot of other things, were all related around how people spend their time.
Yeah.
And so when I do a new book and a new presentation, I always validate it with a lot of comprehensive research. So I did a huge research project on the relationship between responsiveness and revenue. And
Uh-huh.
it turns out that my thesis was correct. We do care about time more than ever. One of the findings in that research is that 2/3 of customers say that speed is as important as price.
Uh-huh. Yeah, usually it was in this quality triangle that we have the speed or time and the money and the quality. But
Yeah.
the point is how we can ensure that there is a speed all the time, because sometimes speed is costly, sometimes need a lot of efforts in the back end just to be
Yeah.
faster, need a delegation and empowerment to the people. And we became really conscious about the time after the
Mhm.
pandemic, because we started to calculate the time commuting, for example, where we
Yeah.
lived this for tens of years before. We never counted the time to that we are traveling from here or here at the commuting time, and now we are considering every time and every minute in our day. And the
That's
point
right.
that just said that for 1440 minutes, it's a little bit scary because we cannot split it in different things. So
Right.
how
Yeah.
yeah, and how corporate can ensure that we have the right response time? What was the relationship between the response time and the revenue? Because this is something was not proven a lot, but we can have it from your report as well.
Yeah, it really has been interesting to do this research. You've probably heard the phrase time is money, right? It's been
Yeah,
around for a long time. Um, but it wasn't actually true. But it is true now. 85% of customers say that responsiveness is a critical factor in their brand loyalty. So if
yeah,
you are a bank, if you're a professional services company, if you're in healthcare, if you're in any sort of organization where customers have to decide over and over again whether to continue working with you, one of the best things you can do is give them time,
yeah,
because we live in a world now where we interpret speed as caring. So
yes,
if I have to ask a question of a bank, and so I email one bank and I get a response in 3 hours, that makes me feel one way. If I get a response in 3 days, I feel very different about that relationship and how much
mm,
they care about me as a customer, how much they want me to be a customer. And that psychology equals money, right? Like that
yeah,
psychology is how people decide whether or not to be your customer or not to be your customer at all. And in most organizations, they don't really understand this. they just say, well, we're as fast as we can be, or we're as fast as we should be, or we're trying our best. But you can, as you pointed out, use more people, more software, better processes to actually get faster, to be more responsive. And what the research shows is that if you do that, you will actually gain and keep more customers.
Excellent. One point, like for the speed of delivery, for example, today when we order food, when we order online shopping or groceries or even on items, we look always for the delivery time. So if it's delivered in the next day or this day, we will buy it. If it will be delivered after 10, 15 days, we lose the interest because our span of attention, and the need today is not massive that is happening every day. So we need to go for the faster. Sometimes personally, I pay more to get the item on the same day. Sometimes I change the item to go for another one. And the problem,
we have an amazing stat on that, actually. I don't know if you saw it in the book. 1 in 4 customers, 1 out of 4, will pay as much as 50% more to not wait. So that's you'll pay more to get it tomorrow, right? And not everybody will, but one of the best things you can do as a business in terms of providing personalized CX is to say, okay, if you're one of those customers who wants it right now, we're going to give you that opportunity. Now, you should charge them for that.
Yes.
You shouldn't do it for free. You should charge them for it. And some of them will be like, great, here's more money. And they're actually super happy with that. We call that the fast pass in the book. And it's something that more and more businesses should absolutely implement.
And this is what we see in day-to-day, even in flight. When we go to the airport, we need to go for the fast track. We need to go for the private services. When we go to the shops, sometimes we go to the VIP area. We pay a lot of money just to get it an instant service, because everyone now is asking for the instant service, for the speedy service. And
because they value their time more. That's the whole point, right? Like if people didn't value their time more, nobody would use those services.
Yeah. I'll tell you a short story about money even. Maybe it's different, but when I travel from Saudi to Jordan, sometimes I take the car. It takes us 15 hours in the way because it's 1,500 kilometers. And my kid always telling me why we are just flying for 15 hours, waste our time, and where we can go with the plane for 2 hours only, we'll be at our home there. So even I have to pay money more. I go with the plane sometimes because I need just to get away of this nagging and this time waste and to get it. So it's not even within one industry. Maybe the speed and the cost, we can pay it across different industries as well.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So how companies need to evaluate or to take the return on investment for being speedy? For example, in one of the banks 2 days ago, I was transferring money to another country. They have a limit. I need to increase the limit. They just took 3 hours just to take the minutes. Then I have to wait a lot of time. So I just got to the other bank, transferred the money, and they wasted the revenue as well from the transfer. So how the big, I would say, organizations can have this kind of speed? Can they monetize the value from the money?
Yeah.
From your research, we see that this is generating more revenue, and a lot of customers are evaluating this one. And what is this value is done? How much speed? More speed. We need to be faster, because I saw that you have classified the speed, how we can be faster, or the frustration for the customers.
A couple things on that. One, the research shows that more than half, I think it's just over half, 51% or something, 52% of all customers will hire or work with whomever is the fastest, regardless of price, right? So in your circumstance, if the one wire transfer organization, that bank, was faster, but even if it was more expensive, you would still choose that one because it's faster, right? So more than half the time, that is a tremendous amount of potential customer revenue, huge. And so if you think about that, how often is your business the fastest? How often do you respond the quickest? Most organizations don't at all. Now, it can be tricky to model that, because when you don't get the business because you're too slow, usually you don't have evidence of that. So you said you went to the one. You went to the one bank, they were going to make you wait 3 hours, so you went somewhere else.
Yes.
The one that made you wait 3 hours, or was going to make you
didn't know what he lost.
They don't know what they lost. right? It's
Yeah.
invisible. It's invisible to them. So usually when you lose because of speed, it's hard to see it, but it's
Yeah.
easy to see it when you win because of speed, right?
Yeah.
Your
Because more
conversion rate goes up,
consumption. Yeah.
more customers, higher average order value, all the things that we're looking for. But the most important thing you can do as a business first, and I really recommend this to everyone, is to first figure out how long it takes you now.
Yeah.
Because I ask businesses this, all kinds of business, banks, insurance companies, healthcare companies, pharmaceutical companies, manufacturing companies, all over the world. I ask them the same question every time. How long does it take today for somebody to get a wire transfer?
Yeah.
They don't know. They'll say, well, usually it takes 2 hours, but sometimes it can be 3 hours, and sometimes it's a half a day. And maybe if everything's perfectly, it'll take an hour. I'm like, that's not math, right? That's a collection of stories. They
Exactly.
don't actually measure it with math. And so unless you actually know how long it takes you today to do all the things that your customers need, how can you possibly get better at it?
Yes.
So the
This
first thing
is
you got to do is measure it and actually track it.
Yeah. So to measure it, there are multiple ways. Maybe now we will go to the how we can measure and
Yeah.
improve what is the ultimate. But measuring the current state or the current transaction time is very much important. I see a lot of, I worked in different companies in the region here in Saudi, Jordan,
Mhm.
and UAE as well. Whenever we work with banks or with companies, with flights, with booking online, all these, they don't know the journey. Even us, when we go and ask, sometimes I ask the leaders in some organization, what we are doing, what is the waiting time, how long is taking us? They
Yeah.
tell us what exactly you just said, the transactions that they have. But what about the walk-in customers that
Right.
they just escape away because they see a long queue time. So
Yeah.
they don't know the opportunities that wasted from this. So
Yes, that's
sometimes
it.
should go on ground. Yeah.
Yeah, they only
Perfect.
know the ones that completed, and of course, that is a shorter
Exactly.
period of time because nobody left.
Yeah.
So
You
you
have a
you
lot
have
in
to
the
be
blind
better
spot.
at the analysis part. And as you mentioned earlier, that this is not a common problem, but it can be a problem that you can be too fast, right?
Okay.
So there are circumstances where you can be too fast. So let's say you needed to get. We both have glasses. Let's say we wanted to get the eye surgery, LASIK. It's typically
Yeah.
called, right? At least in the U.S. So let's say you called the eye doctor and said, I want to get surgery for my eyes. And they said, cool, what are you doing in 2 minutes?
And this is
Right?
what make me always
You would
postpone
be,
it.
you'd be like, wait a second, if you're that available, like I don't trust you anymore. So when it's too fast,
Yeah.
it actually diminishes trust. So there are situations where it's too fast. I'll give you a better example sometimes. So many people tuning in, of course, have chat bots or some sort of live chat tool on the website. Well, when people ask questions of a chat bot, especially chat bots that are AI driven, the AI knows the answer like that, right? It can just be
Yeah.
like, hey, bam, it just delivers the
Full
answer
answer.
instantly, right?
Yeah.
Well, when that happens, customers, they get very confused and scared. They're like, well, wait a second.
Yeah.
That was so fast. It must be a robot. So I don't trust the answer anymore because a human didn't actually think about it and type this. And so what you'll see in a lot of these chat softwares is the little fake delay, right? So
Uh-huh.
you put in the question and then you see the little dots, dot, dot,
The
dot,
dancing
dot,
dots.
dot,
Yeah.
dot, dot, like it's thinking, right? And it's not
Yeah.
thinking. It's just a pretend delay. It
Perfect.
actually slows it down on purpose so that people don't freak out that it's AI, which I find hilarious, right? It's a great
Yeah.
example of when you're too fast, it actually drops trust. So what you want, the magic formula for everything in CX is to be just a little bit faster than the customers expect. That's where you want to be. The right now, we call it, just a little bit faster than they expect.
Perfect. So the little bit faster, this is what make the customers delighted and even not confused and just to waste or to lose the trust from you. So
Yes,
great. So the first point,
delighted and still trusted. That's exactly right.
exactly. And so the first point is measure what we have today. What is the second point? How we can move on with being fast enough to exceed the competition and to win.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, and this is, you said it perfectly. This really is about outperforming competition. All the research suggests that if you are more responsive, you will not only get more customers, you will keep more customers. And so many businesses are still in this mindset of, we're going as fast as we can. And you can get faster. There's lots of things you can do internally. People, software, process, you can get faster. And if you can be the most responsive in whatever category of business you are, or whatever country you're in, or whatever region you're in, it will eventually elevate your business versus the competitors. Now, I will say this. This isn't going to work forever. Because all the things we're talking about, you're going to do. It's all going to happen. All of this is going to happen. AI is going to change expectations about what fast means. All the things I talked about in the book, you're going to do. Because customers will just demand it. Like, customers are never going to say, hey, I've been thinking about it, and why don't you guys just do this more slowly next time? Like, that's not the way speed works. So all the things that I talk about are going to happen. It's just whether you start now before your competitors, or you wait and do it when everybody does it, and then you don't have an advantage. So the better thing is to start now. I think you have a 2-year window to use this as a meaningful differentiator in CX. After 2 years, I don't think you can use that anymore.
Excellent. And this is the point, Jay. We sometimes when we think about how we can be leading in this market, it's like taking the first step, being the first to be in the time is now. It's the problem that needs a lot of courage, readiness, cost. So how organizations can start, actually, after we measure, what you recommend, or how are the best performers doing just to start with this one? Because sometimes they will tell you, I don't want to invest in resources. I don't want to invest in technology. So this will not be working, right? It will not work. So how companies can make this happen today? In which transactions? Because we don't should not be fast on all the transactions. We should be fast only in the priority transactions, right? So how we can implement it, get it on ground and reality?
So what we found in the research is that customers care about speed always, but where they care about speed the most is at the beginning of the relationship, and then at the end of the relationship, or at some point where they have a question. So where you should try to get faster first is in the, hey, we're trying to buy from you, and we need to get an estimate, or we need to wire the money, or anything that's like close to the transaction window. Test getting faster there. So the first thing is, as we talked about earlier, figure out how long it takes today. Then do whatever's necessary in your organization to get 20% faster, let's say. Okay. So usually it takes 2 hours. Let's have it take an hour 35. Okay. Let's do what it takes. Let's test that, and then see what the increase in revenue, customer satisfaction, and other kind of CX metrics are. And then if that works, then you go to the next sort of customer interaction in the customer journey, and you get faster there, get faster there, get faster there. The other place to start is at the end, and this is probably no surprise, anytime customers have a problem or a question, they do not want to wait. That's how we lose customers, right? So that's customer service, response time, that's all that entire area. We have to be as quick as we can at that point also. So beginning and the end of the customer journey are the places to focus the most.
Perfect. For the automation of this, like you have the recent thing is the AI or die newsletter, even how we can do a lot of AI. I think AI is playing a big role now in this speed game now, just between corporates. Huge. And the problem that it's AI is really confusing, because no one still can find the best fit for their organizations. So I do believe that what you said now is applied on the AI or the technology in some areas to have it. So how we can have the AI as a solution today? Is it the right time today to start with AI solutions in each transaction, or in a specific one?
So 3 things I'll say. First is, yes, we should be experimenting with AI now, because it's moving so quickly. I don't think you can wait and then catch up. I think you have to start playing now. Second piece is, while there are literally thousands of AI tools that can help your CX in every conceivable way, think ultimately what's going to happen is that most of the core AI in marketing and CX is going to be built into the existing large tools.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you use Oracle, it's going to be Oracle plus AI. If you use Sprinkler, it's going to be Sprinkler plus AI. Right. If you use whatever, it's going to be whatever plus AI. So yes, we'll probably start off with some very small kind of individual little packages that you can experiment with, but the best ones are going to get bought and get integrated into the large existing suites. So I think the software side of it will solve itself in the next 18 to 24 months. But for me, the biggest implication for AI is not necessarily using AI to be faster, although definitely that's going to happen and should be done. To me, the biggest implication is that when all companies are using AI,
Yeah.
what customers think of as fast is going to change dramatically, because
It'll be the
nobody will
norm.
have to wait 3 hours. Nobody will have to wait 10 minutes, right? It's going to be
Yeah.
like this. And so customer expectations around speed and around personalization, right? That every
Yes.
experience is tailored to you because the AI creates an entire
Completely
communication
personal.
chain just for you.
Yeah.
Once that happens, and it's happening right now, then what customers expect or what they think of as good or great CX,
It will be the norm.
totally different. And so for me, as a CX professional, to me, this is the thing we got to pay attention to, is that CX is, as a discipline, all about exceeding customer expectations, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole idea. But if the customer expectations, because of AI, go from a 3 to a 9,
Yes.
our ability to exceed them gets very difficult indeed.
And this is the first time I feel I'm trapped. What we can do in that time, Jay?
Right. No, me too. I don't have the answer yet, but it actually scares me for what CX is going to be in, say, 3 years. Because if the robots are making everything amazing and great, like, what's the CX differentiator then? And I don't know the answer yet.
And this is very important point to think out. And this is the first time I read a lot. I am educating myself a lot. This is the first time I think of it like this time and this moment, because prices are more or less the same.
Same.
Quality is the same. And we always say that CX is the competitive edge or advantage from the competition. When we have everything on AI and it's
Same.
almost the same. So what will be the next big thing, actually?
Right.
It's digitalized. This is something we need to find out in the coming days, huh?
It's I mean, we've had this experience as the differentiator for, I don't know, at least 10 years, maybe longer. And I don't know what comes next, because that's what's going to happen. Like, the robots are going to make the experience
The same.
much more similar than it has been historically.
Personalized, quality,
Personalized,
prices,
fast, empathetic, because so much of the actual customer interaction is going to be through AI, not through people.
Yes.
And AI always has empathy because it never has a bad day. It never has to go to the bathroom. It never gets mad, right? It's always, it can always be happy. So it's going to have this great equaling of experiences. And so then how are you better than your competition? And I really don't know yet.
Yeah, it's a big question to think out. We don't have to answer it now. We have to think about it.
When I figure it out, we'll come back and do another episode when I have.
We should, because this is really it's a huge thing to think about it, because everyone will have the same service, will be moving in the same track, having a personalized experience, coming integrated one. Maybe we'll use just our chip in our neck or head. Maybe this will give us the experience.
Well, the other thing is the experience itself will not be experienced by people in many cases, because we're all going to have AI-driven agents at our disposal, right? They might be Google, they might be Meta, who knows exactly, but you'll have your own robot that goes out and buys stuff for you. You don't even go to the website. You don't even price shop. You just say, hey, buy me shoes, and I need them to be blue. And then maybe the robot will give you 3 candidates. So, like, these are the 3 best ones. You just click go. but you won't be going to the website. You won't be buying airline tickets. You won't be renting a car. You won't be ordering food for delivery. You won't be getting an Uber. You won't, as a human being, you won't be doing any of those things. You'll do none of it. And I'm talking about within like 2 years, you won't do any of it. And so if most of the experience, as we think about it today, is actually experienced between two robots.
So we have no role except for the physical experience. We're moving, going,
Right.
staying, facing people.
Mhm.
And I think the next generations, this is an important point, because the next service generation, I hear this about the people and how we're growing now, the net growth or in populations. The next generations are not really ready to serve the older ones or the next ones, because they are all stuck with this digital instruments, devices, all these. They don't have the experience to experience with the humans and to do
Yeah.
this. So we need to work more on about human skills for the next generations, maybe, so they can be
Very
able
much
to
so.
serve others in where we will need them, because we not need them too much, but they need to be more human, more kind. They have this emotion and empathy, because today the kids, they are the next 10 years doctors, engineers, I don't know what kind of service. They will be everywhere where is applicable, based on what you said, because
Yeah.
it will be an autonomous economy.
I'll give you an example about this whole idea of you not experiencing the experience. So right now, there are multiple companies, not just one, multiple companies, and they're dating apps, right? We've got the app. You're like, okay, I want to find somebody to date. And the way it works is you answer some questions, and then the app creates a robot for you.
Yeah.
And your robot goes on virtual dates with other people's robots.
Okay.
And then if the robots get along well, then your robot says, hey, I met these three robots. We got along great. You should maybe talk to the actual person behind those robots. So like the awkward first and second date is all done by the robots. And then only on like what would be like the third date do the humans actually get involved. Like, does that blow your mind or what?
Yes.
But that's what's happening.
Yeah, this is very scary, and I think that we will witness that very soon. We will remember this talk on this one. So we talk about the time when AI. We should start with the small AI automations and how we can take it. What will come next? This is the most important point. I would love to talk a little bit about marketing for customer experience.
Sure.
How we respond for the reviews and comments, customer interactions with us digitally, because yet some business are doing very well. The others are the legacy ones that we don't know when they will vanish. Because I remember that we will witness a lot of cases like Blockbuster, Netflix, everyone is talking about it, Kodak, and they are now application, or BlackBerry even cases. What will happen to the legacy businesses today? Because a lot of businesses, we see that the new fintech companies, for example, they are disturbing everyone. We have an insurance companies. We have even the legacy business with cement and all these kind of industries are changing. So how they are responding to people? What kind of marketing, CX marketing strategy that we need to follow? How they can integrate to get it?
Yeah, I think part of it is as those organizations begin to modernize and focus on CX and get faster and use AI tools to personalize the experience and all the things we've talked about. One, I think the best things you can do is to create a dialogue with your customers about that transformation, right?
Yeah.
I don't think you can ignore the fact that you're a slow legacy business. Everybody knows that. So I think the best practice is to acknowledge that you're a slow legacy business and then say to people, and we're working on it. Like, we got this new thing that's going to make it faster. We got this new thing that's going to make it more personalized, right? So as you change your CX, use that as marketing, right? Use that as part of the marketing message so that the customers feel like they're sort of coming on this ride with you, right? They're part of this journey towards improved CX alongside you. And so you're kind of a team as opposed to a company saying, well, you just got to buy from us because you've always bought from us. I don't know if that's going to work.
Yeah. So great. So I need to ask you about one example for B2B business, how they can win the relationship, especially sometimes in the B2B business, they have a lot of legal requirements, they have a lot of prerequisites, integrations, and all these. If you can tell us one example and the quick tips to B2B business, just to understand and to not be disrupted from the digital or towards the business.
Yeah. So often in B2B, well, there's two things. One, B2B doesn't often think of speed as a differentiator, but it is. And I would argue just as much in B2B, if not more so, because the value of time in B2B is usually higher on a per minute or per hour basis because the size of the purchase is bigger.
Yes.
The way that B2B organizations are slow are usually two. One, they don't care about it enough. But the other way is that there's too much slowness in between departments and people inside the organization, right? So the interactions inside the company are slow. So of course the interactions outside the company are slow. So the best thing you can do in B2B is to go through and audit all the different handoffs and different circumstances where it has to go from person to person or department to department. And how do you speed that up? So legal is a good example, right? Yeah. B2B contracts take forever. Like when I do work with B2B companies, it takes
back
forever.
And forth. Yeah.
But it's totally ridiculous because 95% of that contract is the same every time. Every time. So let's just make that the same. Let's find a way to argue about the 5% only and do that very quickly. Right. So, and especially with AI, like so much of the basic legal stuff can be done by AI today that you really don't need a human lawyer to write it, to look over it. They just need to spot check it. Legal is one of the areas where AI is going to completely transform the whole industry.
Perfect. So you always recommend us to start with measuring the current processes, then try to see the handovers between different teams, see what kind of solutions you need to have in order to improve the experience and to have the right time and the right speed to respond to your customers, right?
Yes, and that first part's important. Like if you try to do all this at once, you can't. Like it will be too overwhelming. You have to find specific things in your organization that you're going to get better at, right? Specific things you're going to get faster at. Not you can't sit down and say, let's get faster in the whole company. It's impossible, right? You've got to do little things, one at a time, like do this one and then this one, then this one, and this one. That's the way to do it.
Perfect. So I think we came to our end in this discussion. It was very exciting, full of details. I'm scared a little bit about my future career.
The fact we won't have any CX in 3 years. Yeah, I'm scared too.
Yeah. So we need to think about it, how we can build the next thing for customer experience. And that's it. At the end of our episode, if we always ask quick advice to our audience so they can be up to the experience, they can have the right speed for our episode today or AI. So what you advise us, the one thing that you need us to do it in order to be in the right place with customer experience?
I think it's this: understand and do as much reading and work as you possibly can on this. Understand that while most of the conversation about AI right now is about marketing, the real implications for AI are CX. Okay. Marketing is just a shiny object for AI. CX is where it's really going to matter. And so don't let the marketing people in your organization be the ones that run AI, because it's ultimately going to be a CX issue, not a marketing issue. So make sure that you're staying on top of it now. Do the reading, listen to the podcast, read the books, go to the conferences. Like you can't be in CX now unless you are on your way to becoming really good at understanding AI. So if you're not there now, start doing that.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your time, Jay, today.
It was super fun.
I appreciate being with us. Hopefully we'll have a next discussion about the mature AI.
Come up with something.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks a lot.